Well, companies and countries hit by the tariffs may be in the dark for months while the Supreme Court decides on President Trump's use of emergency powers to justify his massive levies. But there is no clarity on how trading partners will play the fresh doubts raised by arguments and questions at the Supreme Court on Wednesday. Even among U.S. trading partners who have signed trade deals and those who are still negotiating, the uncertainty is high. A broad ruling against Trump would cut the U.S. average elective tariff rate to 6.5%. And that is a level not seen since before the president's April 2nd announcement of his Liberation Day tariffs on dozens of countries. India and China have been among the biggest targets of U.S. tariffs. While China has managed a trade truce extension, India still faces 50% tariffs. Brazil also has been hit with a very high tariff rate. Switzerland had a surprise target too. Recently, Trump's ire in response to an Ontario-sponsored anti-tariff ad has hit Canada. Now, let's take a look at what's happened to trade this year. Chinese exports to the U.S. are down 17% this year. Despite tariffs, U.S. imports from Taiwan also soared on AI demand. Still, the effect on trade flows from Southeast Asia could be larger if Trump loses the case. India's exports to the U.S. have fallen 37% in 4 months. Officials in New Delhi have said that Trump's loss wouldn't make much difference to the trade talks. Still, a court verdict against the tariffs will give India more leverage in its trade talks with the U.S. The court action would strengthen India's case for sticking to its position. On Thursday, Trump said he had Plan B if the top court ruled against tariffs. However, the president noted he is not ready to discuss those plans just yet.
We thought we did very well yesterday. We hope that we did. I think it would be devastating for our country, but I also think that we'll have to develop a Game 2 plan. We'll see what happens. Most people tell me we did very well legally.
But Trump has at least 5 other options if the Emergency Powers Act cannot be used. Congress lawmakers have delegated some of their authority to the executive branch through a number of statutes. Section 338 can be used to impose a maximum 50% tariff for discrimination against U.S. commerce with no limit on the duration. No Section 301, but this needs to be investigated by a trade representative. Section 232 gives the president complete powers under threat to national security, but that needs to be investigated by the Commerce Department first. Through Section 201, Trump can impose a maximum of 50% tax, but it needs to be phased down after a year. Under Section 122, the U.S. could impose a 15% tariff for 150 days, post which congressional approval is required.